Welcome back, everyone, to Sportsbook Review and SBRpicks.com. My name is the big man on campus, Jeff Nadeau. Here talking a little boxing with Forbes.com writer Peter Kahn. Peter, I'm really happy you came on today. I know you got a lot going on down there in South Florida. You're in Miami. Are you leaving or are you staying, Peter?
I'm staying. Not only am I staying, and I apologize if our set here today is less than perfect conditions. I know we got a little buzz going on here. I got the only window in the house that it does not have shutters on it is right behind me. But we're going to ride it out, and this is a monster of a storm. This is a Category 5. They say the largest ever recorded from the Atlantic Ocean. But we're riding it out. Not only that, but we have 19 people staying with me.
Wow.
We have food, gas, water, generators, so we're ready to go.
You're a warrior. The Kahn family, they're warriors. We wish you luck. We hope you are safe. You stay safe. Please be safe, man. That's a hell of a storm I see they're coming down there. Ride it out. Peter, we're talking boxing today. As everyone knows, you write boxing for Forbes.com. Tell people a little bit about you if they missed our Mayweather-McGregor preview a couple hours before the fight a couple weeks ago.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because before speaking about Triple G and Canelo on the 16th, which everybody wants to talk about, I wanted to touch on Mayweather-McGregor and a little bit of the aftermath and kind of review what you and I had talked about just minutes before that broadcast. But before that, I've been in this business over 23 years as a promoter, manager. I kind of wear many hats, also in the media. I manage a bunch of fighters right now as well, world-rated fighters in the top 15 in many different weight classes. So I feel like I'm a guy that has his finger on the pulse. I know a lot about what's going on behind the scenes. Some of it I share, some of it I don't share. Otherwise, I wouldn't get that information moving forward. But I enjoy it. I love boxing. I love writing about it. I love being a participant. And I love speaking with you and talking to SBR and all of SBR's fans about these fights and hoping to provide some value. And talking about value, I think we did provide value last a couple weeks ago with regard to Mayweather-McGregor. And I have to say, you and I talked about it was never a matter of who was going to win this fight. We both knew Floyd Mayweather was going to win. It was a matter of when. And in my Forbes pick, prior to that, I had Floyd winning by TKO in the 9th round. Obviously, he won TKO in the 10th round. We saw that trouble had started for McGregor in the 9th round, and it didn't take long for Floyd to finish. And I believe we won with the under 9.5, right? Did he get under 10.5 rounds?
Yeah, it was. I believe it went to, 15 seconds before the bet wouldn't have cashed. He knocked out Conor McGregor. So I believe both those props cashed. I know for me it cashed. I know you and I both talked. We said it'd be around 9th or 10th round. And look, I think we all agreed. It was really just about when Conor would wear it down. And he was positive first couple rounds. I know for me, I didn't think he'd land a punch in the first couple rounds. He came out, really punched well, did some good things, but none of the punches ever affected Floyd, and that was the big thing. He was landing these little pot shots, these small jabs, but as you saw, Peter, nothing really affected Floyd.
Well, I think we kind of got suckered, right? I think we got suckered into that under 45 landed punches, not realizing that Floyd was going to sort of allow it in order to let Conor himself out and wear himself down. And we used the Pacquiao numbers, which were in the 80s, as a comparison. So I think that we kind of got suckered into that. But in the end, we knew what the result was going to be. We knew there was no value in betting on Conor McGregor. Las Vegas came out a big winner. Offshore came out a big winner because all the money was coming in on McGregor pretty much. And I think in the end, Vegas was happy with the result. And I think that we all kind of knew what was going to happen. So it was no surprise. I was entertained. I can't complain. I think I even told you that, it's going to go 9 rounds. We'll get the TKO. Floyd's going to win. Everyone's going to get entertained. No one's going to say that they were duped and bought a $100 pay-per-view for no reason. I think all in all, it was a good event.
Yeah, I thought the undercards were good. I mean, Mayweather Boxing Camp 4-0 that night. Plenty of big wins. I know we were a little surprised at Gervonta Davis's performance. I think he was a little sick. I think he's maybe buying into his stature a little bit. But he's got to get better, and he will. He's a young kid. I know he missed weight as well. But it's time to talk about the big fight, the fight I think we're all excited about from whether you're a pure fan, whether you're a casual fan, I think we all agree this is going to be one hell of a fight. Gennady Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez, middleweight title out in Las Vegas, September 16th. We're going to take an early look at the fight. We got about 8 or so days till the fight gets going. And I thought to bring Peter on, give us a little breakdown and where his head's at early on. We'll come on later, closer to the fight, discuss some props, but let's get into some of the particulars. Look at the line right now. Obviously, we're looking offshore currently at most of the books. Canelo is a slight underdog. Triple G's the favorite, about a 150 favorite, high as 155 at U-Wager. Canelo, nice little price back, plus 140. Whether you talk to anyone in the boxing world, you talk to guys that love the sport, I think many would agree, and we'll get into the particulars about the fighters, but I think we all agree this is going to be a close fight. This is going to be a fight that gets down to the wire. And really some of the details that are kind of out of the ring. I've seen a lot with Gennady Golovkin lately about some of the fighters he's fought up to this point. I know he beat Kell Brook, but you look at the fight against Danny Jacobs. I thought Danny Jacobs really set up a nice blueprint for the next fighter coming in to fight. Gennady Golovkin didn't end up losing that fight, but other than that knockdown, I thought Danny Jacobs, Peter, was pretty good in that fight.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I was at that fight at Madison Square Garden in March, and I believe March 18th. And from the minute that they did the ring walk after Canelo and Chavez Jr., and they officially announced this fight on HBO, I immediately, and the rest of the boxing purists and the boxing fans couldn't wait to see this fight. This clearly has the potential to be one of the best fights of the year, if not one of the best middleweight fights in recent time. And to answer your question about initially about talking about the odds here, it's such great value. Canelo plus 140, I'd jump over on that all day. And you know what? From the day the fight was announced up until the day of the fight, I'm not going to change my opinion. I'm all over Canelo. I'm all over that value because I think he's going to win the fight. You got to remember, I love Triple G. Love Gennady Golovkin. I'm close with Abel Sanchez. I've known him 20 plus years. Tom Loeffler, also same thing. Great team, great people. Triple G, 35 years old. I think that Canelo is by far going to be his toughest test. I don't know if we can necessarily judge the Danny Jacobs performance. If you remember in that fight, and like I said, I was there, Jacobs gave Triple G a lot of respect early on. He even, pasted the canvas. Was it the second or third round?
I think it was the fourth round.
Really? Okay, but it was early on. But the minute that Danny Jacobs decided to stand there and let loose, and remember, Danny Jacobs is a finisher. Danny Jacobs is heavy-handed. Okay, Canelo Alvarez is a finisher. He's also heavy-handed when he wants to be. And he's a superb boxer. So, to an extent, yes, I absolutely do believe that Triple G and Jacobs could have somewhat provided the blueprint. I also think that from Triple G's perspective, if he didn't have that performance where he let Jacobs back in the fight, I'm not sure that this fight would have been made. I think that Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions and Canelo felt that they're getting Triple G at the right time. And it's not so much that has me feeling really good about Canelo. It's just Canelo. He's younger. He's a great boxer. He has power. He has skill. So at plus 140, I'm all over that. And I could see money coming in on him late, too.
And I think he's one of the table setters in boxing, kind of as the face. Now that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is moving on, the McGregor stuff's over with. You look at that fight against Floyd Mayweather, and I think Canelo really matured. I think he learned a ton in that fight. The one concern I have right now with him, and I think he will have plenty of opportunity to counter. I think he'll have plenty of options here with the optimism that Gennady Golovkin fights with. I mean, he's always going to be on the offensive. The concern I have, I saw an article out of one of the blogs that details Canelo's obsession with a bodybuilding almost in a way. He's almost trying to chisel his appearance coming into this fight. And I don't know that if I'm reading too much into that, but to me, that is concerning. I like Canelo in this fight. I picked him. I bet on him already. I think he's going to beat Gennady Golovkin, but it's a concern for me that in his head, maybe he doesn't think he's good enough, to fight Triple G. That's a little concern of mine.
More than any other sport, okay, boxing is great when it comes to propaganda.
Sure, I know.
And sometimes fighters deliver their own propaganda against themselves to try to make a case for the other fighter to feel sort of maybe more relaxed or overconfident. I wouldn't be surprised if that was self-perpetuated by Golden Boy. Many of the things that happen in boxing when it comes to promoting fights, fight camps like to present and portray the idea that they're in disarray, that they're out of sorts, that they're divided. All of this geared toward having their opponent. A lot of Sun Tzu art of war tactics here. So I don't think that at this stage of Canelo's career, he's certainly not concerned about his appearance and taking on a bodybuilding physique. If he looks more chiseled, you got to remember he's now fighting at 160 pounds. So fighting at 160 pounds and fighting at 160, he can end up being anywhere from 167 to 170 on fight night.
Right.
So I just don't think it's going to play into it. If anything, the only thing that I would be concerned about would be maybe speed. Maybe some of Canelo's speed is going to be an issue. Maybe he'll be a little bit slower. But, Triple G is not exactly the fastest fighter in the world anyway. He's just very heavy-handed and very accurate.
Yeah, I do like your point about obviously age here. I mean, Triple G is 30. I think he's 35 years old. He's kind of hit the ground running at a late age. Clearly, I mean, and up until Kell Brook, I mean, I was really skeptical of the guy. I mean, he hadn't really fought anyone. I mean, Daniel Gill, I guess, and Rubio, okay. But, Kell Brook was impressive. The kid has plenty of power. He's been through a ton in his life. But Canelo Alvarez, to me, is the face of boxing right now. I think he learned a ton from the Mayweather fight. I think he's, again, a guy that really is just going to kind of – I think he's going to get plenty of great looks as far as, I think, like I said, the optimism that Triple G has. He'll have that counter ability, land those hard body shots. I don't know. He just – to me, is just a – he's like a bull. He's like a small little bull, he's
a bull. You're talking about Canelo?
Yeah, sure.
Canelo is a bull, but Canelo is a very talented, skilled boxer. I think what he's going to do, in my opinion, is he knows where those opportunities are. Guys at this caliber, it's they say football is a game of inches. Boxing at this caliber is a game of inches. And what we're talking about is, if we really want to get into the X's and O's of boxing, we're talking about strategy, and what the lay viewer, what the common viewer doesn't understand and doesn't see are the traps that are being set, the feints that are being provided to see how a fighter reacts, so that that's put in the bank, so that this way the fighter that is setting these little traps is subtly setting up his opponent. But it's a game of cat and mouse, and you don't see it. You truly, unless you've participated or unless you really understand it, you don't see what's being set up. These two guys are masters, and these two guys are going to be playing a chess game in the middle of that ring, and it's going to take sometimes one little mistake, and it's literally inches. It could be a counter hook. It could be a straight right hand from a lazy jab that doesn't come back. But when that opportunity presents itself, believe me, someone's going to capitalize on it. And to that point, and I know that all the props aren't out yet, something I'm really curious to see, and that I would certainly bet on, is that both of these guys are going to get knocked down during the fight. And I don't even know what the total's at right now, but this fight's not going to go 12 rounds.
Yeah, we're currently at 11.5, minus 117. Yeah. Under's at plus 100.
Yeah, there's not much wiggle room there.
Well, well, I think if you like the under, you don't think this fight's going to go to this, you're obviously going to get a little plus price back, even money, basically.
Yeah.
I think I think a lot of people look at this fight and say, well, these guys are two warriors. They're just going to go 12 rounds. I mean, they're two similar fighters. Look at the line; it's pretty much even. This definitely is going the distance. I'm one to think there's a knockout here at some point. Again, I just look at kind of the business strategy behind boxing, the promotional angle behind boxing. I think Triple G is a bigger sell, or Canelo's a bigger sell than Triple G. Personally, I think he's young. He's Mexican. He's he's with De La Hoya. I mean, it's just it's a tailor-made thing to me, I think. And that's something you have to look at boxing, honestly.
Right, and you're right. The one thing that is hurting this fight, unfortunately, is the lack of English. And the lack of English is hurting. And I know it's a terrible thing to say, but it's the truth. And what's happening is they're not connecting with the general public because they're not really able to use social media to its full extent. They're not really able to capture that conversation and dialogue the way that we saw Mayweather and McGregor, or even the way that we see other fights where we're able to kind of really feel like we're being a part of the conversation. And look, I respect these guys a lot, and there's no reason that they have to or should. Felix Trinidad, someone who I was close to, who I like very much, should have been a superstar. If he would have only spoken English, he would have been a superstar. He was one of the best of his era. And same with Julio Cesar Chavez, where despite his ability to not speak English, he still was able to break through and be such a powerful name in the sport, right? Roberto Duran. But these two guys are having an issue to connect to the audience, I think.
Yeah, no, I think you're dead right. And Gennady speaks a little English, but it's not great. I do find some of the 24/7s they do interesting initially, and I think they set that up well. We hear about his Gennady Golovkin's destructive knockouts on the streets of Kazakhstan. Like, that's relevant today whatsoever. Again, though, both these guys are from boxing families, particularly Canelo Alvarez. I mean, all his brothers were fighters, and I do believe his twin brother, Gennady Golovkin's twin brother, was a boxer as well. But he had to go through some tough, upbringings, as far as I believe his brothers were killed in war, and he had two great stories and two boxing guys. But at the end of the day, I do think you're right as far as the language barrier. Canelo speaks no English. Gennady speaks broken. It definitely setting up this fight. It's totally different from the fight we just saw, because of that fight was basically all talk. I mean, that's all we heard.
Right. Well, it hasn't hurt ticket sales, because I know that the T-Mobile Arena did well initially upon the announcement. I don't think it's going to hurt the broadcast because, like I said, true boxing fans can't wait.
No,
absolutely can't wait.
I think you're totally right, and I think when you're betting boxing, it's rare that you're going to get a bettable fight. You're going to get a bettable number, and we even saw with Mayweather and McGregor, it was right on the fringe of getting a little bit of value still with Floyd. I mean, most people don't want to lay 1-4, which we talked about. You got that nice price back. In this case, I feel like, look, I don't know that I understand the line. I don't know that. I think this fight's a total on paper. Go ahead.
What are you going to say? Even money?
Yeah.
Right, and I hear you. And listen, they're giving Triple G the respect he deserves. He's undefeated. Okay, he's closing in on the middleweight record of defenses. And look, until someone beats him, until someone hurts him or drops him, you have to make him the favorite, right? I mean, Canelo, as great as he is, still has the loss to Mayweather. And he is coming up in weight, which, a lot of respect for that. When you talked about Kell Brook and Triple G, you got to remember, Kell Brook's a welterweight, and he moved up all the way to middleweight to take on Gennady Golovkin. So that was also sort of misleading in a way. Look, you know what they say, Jeff, the last thing to go for a fighter is power.
Sure.
So that power is still going to be there for Triple G. What makes Canelo's power so useful and so powerful is, when you take speed and accuracy, that also creates power. And it's his precision and the way that he places those punches. Could I see Canelo getting caught? Sure, I can. But could I see him fighting a little bit more conservatively, giving that respect to Triple G until he tastes a little bit of that power? I see that as well. I think Danny Jacobs really felt that he had eaten everything Triple G had to give, and then he turned it on. And then he said, you know what, I'm going to give some of it back. And I think that's when Triple G felt some of Danny Jacobs' power. I don't know if Canelo yet, because he's a different physique than Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs is taller, longer, and more of a true middleweight. We're going to see how that power translates for Canelo, but I think he's, my opinion, I think he's going to outwork Triple G.
I agree. And we'll, again, fights in about a week from tomorrow. We'll break it down the day of, hopefully get on another Google Hangout and kind of do some props, give our
Yeah.
final predictions. But right now, I think the price is fair. You get a plus price on Canelo. I think that's good value. I think he's the new face of boxing, personally, and I think going forward, he is a superstar. And I'm not saying Gennady Golovkin's not, but unfortunately, I just think it's a little late for him. Just saying. But we are recording this on Friday, September 8th, I'm sorry. And there is a fight tomorrow that we wanted to take a look at, just kind of get you prepared. It's kind of an interesting fight as well. It's a super flyweight fight. Roman Chocolito Gonzalez, the Nicaraguan, fighting Sor Rungvisai, who, by the way, I want to sort this out for anyone that maybe can't find this fight. Sor Rungvisai is a Thai fighter, and he's been known by two different names. Wisakil Wangek, which it can get confusing when you're looking up the lines and stuff. So we just want to point that out. But these guys actually fought back in March. And look, I got to tell you, I thought Chocolito got robbed. I don't know how he lost that fight. He connected on 150 more punches than Rungvisai. He connected on 14% more accurate punches. How the hell did he lose this fight? I don't understand.
Listen, I was there on March 18th. This was on the same card as Triple G and Danny Jacobs. So, to your point, I was perplexed, to say the least. And Rungvisai, definitely a formidable fighter, but it was all that blood, and it was which were caused from headbutts. These were not punches that caused those cuts. Chocolatito was, in my opinion, still outworking, outlanding, and winning that fight. And it's amazing because Roman Gonzalez was top of the pound-for-pound list until that fight. Now, remember, this rematch was ordered. This isn't an optional. This was ordered, an ordered rematch. So these guys are doing it again because, sanctioning body felt that the first fight was questionable, and they immediately ordered a rematch. Going into that fight, Roman Gonzalez had a lot going on. His trainer had passed away. It was just so much going on for him. And even so, I still, to your point, don't see. I believe he must be a huge favorite. He must be close to minus 400 right now, if I had to guess.
Yeah, he's minus 380 at most books. You can get back a plus 315 on Rungvisai. I will say this about Rungvisai. He's for his size, a tough little bugger. I mean, 5'3".
Yeah, Chocolatito's going to come all over him. He's going to come at him. He's going to get all over him early.
Right.
He's not going to give him any room for any of that. And I think that they're already going to be prepping the referee for the headbutts. And I just, like I said, I already saw this. To me, this wasn't close like Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev won. Right? This wasn't where you can say, oh, it could have gone either way.
Right.
It wasn't even as close as Pacquiao Horn. To me, this was easily Roman Gonzalez. And what I was going to say earlier, kind of leading into your question, was where, say, Triple G and Canelo fit on the pound-for-pound list. A lot of guys have Andre Ward number 1, Terrence Crawford number 2, Gennady Golovkin, Vasyl Lomachenko, Canelo's in there, but Roman Gonzalez was the top of that list. And it's amazing how quickly he falls from that with a loss, even though no one thinks he lost that fight. Go and look at the Twitter reaction, because I was there watching it live, and I was watching the Twitter reaction live from well-respected people in the fight game. So, once again, there's no value in betting Chocolatito minus 380. And at the same time, I do not give Rungvisai one bit of a chance in this fight.
I got to tell you, as we learned with Floyd Mayweather Jr., sometimes you got to get down and lay some lumber. And I think laying the lumber in this fight is an absolute mortal. I don't see any way Rungvisai wins. No. He does have a strong left hand, that is correct. But we got to remember, it's only his second fight in the States. As Peter said, refs are going to be all over this. And look, Roman Gonzalez is a superstar. He's a star in this game. I am wondering your thoughts on one thing, though. Do you think that 115 is probably his high? I mean, that's I don't think he'd go much above 115. I mean, he's done clearly great things.
I think he's here. I think he's there. I think he's there. I mean, He's already, what, is it 3 divisions? What is it? How many weight divisions?
4 divisions.
4 divisions. So he's already 4 divisions. I mean, is he going to go and run 8 divisions like Pacquiao? No. But is he where he probably needs to be? I think he needs to get past Rungvisai, set that straight, and then make a decision as to where he goes. He doesn't have the height like Pacquiao did to keep moving up, but he's a super fighter. So there's no doubt about that. Like I said, being in Madison Square Garden, you could just kind of feel the response. There wasn't one person in there, and I don't even think Rungvisai thought he won. So,
and when they order the fight, I mean, they mean business with that. I mean, they know there was something wrong here.
It's rare.
Yeah.
It's rare.
And for me, like I said, something that you got to lay the lumber. And at 3.8, 1.1 to 3.8, I think it's worth laying it. I would lay it. I'm going to recommend you lay it. So for me, Roman Gonzalez minus 380. If
you have the bankroll, lay it, right? I mean, but like we said in our previous, most of the bettors are probably $50 to $100 bettors. So I understand how this could be a little bit scary to want to lay enough to make enough of a profit. But I like Jeff said, it's really probably the strongest bet of the evening.
Yeah, totally agree. That'll be it. Perfect. Canelo, Triple G, breaking it down. We both like Canelo Alvarez early on here. Got about a week to go. Also, Roman Gonzalez looks to get the job done tomorrow against Sor Rungvisai. Peter Kahn, great stuff as always. We'll look to speak to you next week. Please be safe, man. Get out of there. And
listen, I appreciate it. As long as I have power next week, we're on.
Very good. Look forward to talking to you.
But if we don't, get on Canelo right now.
I am the big man on campus. We'll be back for more videos in the future. Have a great day.
And listen, before we go, you can follow me at Twitter at Peter Kahn. That's Kahn. And I look forward to seeing you next week, Jeff.
Sounds good, Peter.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.